Well, good day, everyone. Thanks for coming here, for joining us to this session, celebrating the Global Clinical Engineering Week 2023. And this time we are going to have a very interesting topic regarding some of the priorities that we have discussed over the months and that will give us the opportunity to begin doing a formal project for 2024, that is mentoring in clinical engineering. This time I am joined by three very important and significant mentors in their communities and in their regions, and I'm very pleased to have them, and I'm very thankful for their acceptance to being here in this webinar. So I'm going to present my panelists, beginning by Dr. beginning by Dr. Lejla Gurbeta. She has a bachelor's and master's degree in electrical engineering with a sound scientific technical engineering background. She has a PhD in genetics and biomedical engineering from International Board University in Sarajevo, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Lejla is experienced in research and innovation and has more than 8 years of experience as a project manager, overseeing operations and leading teams. Dr. Lejla Gurbeta has an in-depth knowledge of medical device regulatory framework and management, and she's also associate professor at International Board University and director of Berlab Research Institute, director of VH Medical and Biological Engineering and Society. Welcome, Dr. Lejla Gurbeta. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Looking forward to the panel.
Thanks. Next, Dr. Marie-Ange Janvier. She is a certified clinical engineer, who works at the Children's Hospital at Eastern Ontario in Ottawa, Canada. She is a licensed professional engineer in the province of Ontario and Quebec. Dr. Janvier is the past chair of the Canadian Board of Examiners for Clinical Engineering Certifications. She is also the chair of Bilingual Affairs and Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility Committee in the Canadian Medical and Biological Engineering Society. Mrs. Janvier is also the North America Regional Group representative for the Council of Societies and the co-chair of Women in Biomedical Engineering in the IFMBE. She has a PhD in Biomedical Engineering from the University of Montreal and also holds a degree in Electrical Engineering from the University of Ottawa. She's a part-time professor at the University of Ottawa for undergraduates and graduates in the Biomedical Engineering program. She's an adjunct research professor at Carleton University in the Department of Systems and Computer Engineering and adjunct professor at Ottawa University in the Department of Mechanical Engineering. In her spare time, she always looks for ways to help developing countries in equipment donation. Welcome, Dr. Marie-Ange Janvier. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Fabiola. I'm looking forward as well to the panel of discussion.
Okay, our third panelist is Major MD Ashrafuzzaman Ph.D. with a bachelor's in science and master in science degree in biotechnology and genetic engineering, specializing in enzyme technology at Khulna University in Bangladesh. He has a PhD in drug development and biomaterials from the Korea Institute of Science and Technology under the affiliation University of Science and Technology in South Korea. He served as the head of the Biomedical Engineering Department of the Military Institute of Science and Technology and raised the BMB department with his founding leadership. Currently, he is serving as professor in the same department and guiding the postgraduate and graduate students with active supervision. He has published many research articles, conference papers, and book chapters in different international journals, and patented his research work as well. Chairman and member of the National Committee for Guideline Preparation of Medical Device Manufacturing, National Technical Committee for Medical Devices and Biosimilar Products Guideline Development, and Chemical Society of Bangladesh. He's a collaborator of the IFMBE-CED and enlisted as an expert for medical devices in the WHO Medical Devices List Center and review of the Health Priorities 2020-2021 Compendium of Innovative Health Technologies for Low Resource Settings. He also holds an advisory position at the Bangladesh Reference Institute for Chemical Measurements and Tools and Technology Institute at the Bangladesh Industrial Technical Assistance Center. Currently, he's working as a chief patron for the establishment of national infrastructure for the biomedical engineering sector to healthcare services, targeting to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals 2030 in the health sector of Bangladesh. With his dynamic leadership and active guidance, Bangladesh government established Saudi Bangladesh Institute of Biomedical Engineering and Technology in 2019. Welcome, Dr. Ashrafuzzaman. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Fabiola. And
Okay.
looking forward to join with all other panelists.
Thank you so much. Well, we are going to proceed as a round of questions and answers regarding this topic of mentoring program in clinical engineering. As you can see, our three guests are references on this activity and this function in their communities, and we want from them to share their experiences and their comments and thoughts regarding this topic. So we are going to begin by this question, that is, what are the key benefits of having a formal mentoring program in clinical engineering? And I would like to begin by Dr. Lejla. So welcome, Dr. Lejla.
Thank you, Fabiola. Well, very interesting question. The key benefits of formal mentoring program in clinical engineering. I can think of some key benefits, such as the knowledge transfer, the career development, the personal development, and maybe in the end, if you provide enough knowledge and training, you can obtain enhanced job certification later on when the clinical engineer actually enters the market, or that is already working at a certain position. Also, what I would like to point out as a key benefit of formal mentoring program could be building a strong professional network, because mentoring often facilitates the building of professional networks, which can be invaluable for career growth and opportunities. Mentoring program, in my opinion, is very important, as experienced professionals can pass on specialized knowledge and practical skills to the next generation of clinical engineers, but also they can learn something from that mentoring program, as it has been shown that younger generations are more keen on catching on the technological developments that are happening around us. Also, why I think the formal mentoring program is good, because it can provide guidance for career advancement, including advice on specific certification, skills, and networking opportunities. Throughout this mentoring program, the formal one, mentees obtain self-confidence, which I think is one of the most important things, and it's easier to learn from the example and to have a role model, an experienced professional to ask for an advice when you're encountering a certain problem. I think the key benefit here is, as I said, that building of self-esteem of a professional clinical engineer. So those are my thoughts on this question.
Thank you, Dr. Lejla. And then we come to Dr. Marie-Ange, please.
Thank you, Fabiola. So it's very interesting that Lejla has set the key points that are very essential confidence building. I think having a formal mentoring program offers the most important thing is the knowledge of transfer. How do you transfer the best practices of industry standards and your institutional knowledge without having a formal program, training program to the next engineers? So having an internship, like as we do at in Ottawa with the university at the master's program, it allows us for 8 months to train them the way that we are trained and give them the skill sets so they are competent clinical engineers. As well, it improves patient safety in the end because you give them the risk management of how to troubleshoot and address a problem. So you're training them how to dissect a problem and address a problem in clinical engineering. And this enhanced problem solving skills, that this is a skill set for clinical engineering, and it gives them the skills for them to address when they are in the professional career, for them to be able to have strength in this skill. As well, I think we can learn also from our mentees because they're very adept in technology as well. And I think it's a two-way street. So it's good. It's not only good for the mentee, it's also good for the mentor because we learn from them, and we at the same time gain some skills and knowledge that we might not have had of new ways of doing. Let's say they want to do a survey and they do with how do you call that? They utilize tools that we are not familiar with. So this brings us to expand our knowledge as well with using new technology tools. And of course, like my friend said, I think succession planning is important too. The way to make sure that having a formalized program, like we hire our trainees at the end. We do hire them because they're already trained into the hospital environment. They already know how the hospital is operating, and other people hire them as well. So succession planning to make sure that we have capable clinical engineers is very key in having a formal mentoring program in clinical engineering.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Marie-Ange. And then the same question will be for Professor Dr. Ashrafuzzaman.
Thank you, Fabiola, and initially pointing out all the key factors for us to describe in details or discussion here. I think, in my opinion, for removing the scattering things, that means during their BSc degree or master's program, people are thinking or learning about so many technologies, and so many things are all together coming on their table in their mind. So after learning or getting the specific advice or working together with a mentor, they can eliminate their scattering minds and they can have their own target, that means career target, the people where they will go and in which field they can work comfortably. Specifically, we have like a such program for the 2 months program, intern program in the year of level 3. So they can visit many hospitals, learn about the advanced machineries, all the technologies, and also we are sending them other healthcare facilities. So depending on this, on hand this training program, the people can, or student specifically, they can get interest, and afterwards they can develop their own career, whether he or she has to go for the hospitals or the other research field or in the higher scholarship or the abroad. So these things are very important. And then this also, the formal mentoring program made them proactive. That means they are becoming self-confident, also empowering themselves so that they can develop their own knowledge, including getting the other information in the specific field as all the tools and technologies becoming very advanced and knowledge are disseminating very fast. So they can gather all these informations. And another important thing we found that during their formal mentorship program, in some students, the leadership characteristics or the self-reliance characteristics is developing very fast. So that can help not even for the themselves, also for the mentor, for the department, for the university or institution, and even to the nation. And in their early age, they can target or they can build themselves for serving with their own potentials. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for so much. As we can see in this first question, we have many aspects to cover to have a success in a mentoring program, and there are many benefits beyond the knowledge itself can be achieved. So when my three guests are familiar with this kind of activities, and I would like to ask them if you could share some real life examples of how mentorship has positively influenced the career trajectories of clinical engineering professionals in your communities. And I would like to ask first to Dr. Ashrafuzzaman to share his experience in this regard.
Thank you, 𝗏𝗏𝗏, again. Actually, it is very difficult for me to share the specific experiences. During my 9 years in my biomedical engineering department, I have lots of examples. So, for first, if I go, then my own graduates are working in the medical device factories and the hospital prerequisites factories, as well as in the hospitals. And this achievement came through their almost mentorship program. That means they work under me. I was their supervisor and I was their faculty, as well as I have engaged them in the different area, knowing their own weakness and the strength. That means if I give example only for the 2 years back or 1 year back, I have selected some students. These students are little bit weak in theoretical knowledge, but they have very good expertise. Specifically, they are interested about the devices. So I have sent them to the industry for the 2 weeks industrial training program. And initially they were not happy because I sent them in the different district out of the capital. But after finishing this program, they were so happy. And from this group, most of the people joined in different medical device industries and within that industries also. This is one example. Another one, though I was not supervisor or their thesis supervisor, but after considering all these things, some students came under me and they work under me, and they have published few reference conference paper, also write some book chapters together with me. And later on, we found that these things specifically help them find their own goal, specifically the scholarship in abroad, like in the university, Indiana Purdue University, Georgia Tech University, even McGill University in Canada, like this, Monash University, Australia. So these things help them lots. But initially, these students, they were not comfortable. So they just came hanging around or something like this. They don't know that what exactly they want. Their one target was that, sir, give us something, but what they cannot select or they cannot imagine actually. So in that sense, after several sessions, knowing their strength, I can engage in different areas. And finally, they develop themselves and they save themselves and they found their own target. And now they are leading very good research life and their career is good. So these two stories, I think, good enough. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing this wonderful experience. Then, Marie-Ange, can you share some experience of yours?
Yes, I have good experience. So most of all of my trainees are interns are all employed. So that's a very good thing in clinical engineering, and they're leaders in clinical engineering. I can give one example specifically about my recent graduate of this year. Basically, she was when she came, she was very shy and not really outgoing and very hesitant. And at the end of the program, program. She did a lot of projects where she had to communicate with different stakeholders, and she had to get out of her comfort zone and lead in clinical trials for some medical equipment. And she actually won a competition for a journal. She wrote a paper in the American Journal of Clinical Engineering, paper of clinical engineering, and she actually won the competition for American College of Clinical Engineering. So this built her confidence in knowing about how she's capable of doing her skill sets, using her skill sets in the profession. And we ended up actually hiring her for a bigger project. She's now working at the Ottawa Hospital as a redevelopment project. She's a lead for helping build a new hospital. And this is new for her too. So she's very excited. But because she built confidence during her internship, she's not afraid to tackle this new project, and she's actually meeting with us. I'm still mentoring her even after her internship and graduation. I'm still mentoring her to make sure that she's equipped to face this big project, and she feels self-confidence. I think the most important thing for the example is the self-confidence and what they do afterwards. And I do have other students that went to the United States, worked in the Mass General Hospital, and they're very competent, and they end up looking back and they really enjoyed the experience of the training ground where they were safe to make mistakes and learn from them and build their confidence. So that's the experience I've had with my students, is that they feel that they can tackle bigger projects and they feel confident after their internship.
Fantastic story. Thank you, Marie-Ange. And I noticed that one of the winning things that our mentorees are getting is the confidence, right? I think we also, as students, have the same experience to be uncertain on what we were going to find at the hospital or at the other environments, and this confidence building is very, very strong. But it is not the only thing that we can appreciate on the mentoring program. No? So that's why I'd like to ask Dr. Lejla, how do you measure the success and impact of a clinical engineering mentoring program?
My colleague answered almost this question totally throughout the talk. So yes, basically the self-confidence is the #1 thing that we all pointed out. But I would say the career development as one of the most important parameters that we are speaking about. The professional career development, I mean, the skills you obtain from the practice, from the business, but also I see that through the development of scientific career, research career, number of publications, as we talked about. Those are some crucial parameters by which we can measure the impact of formal mentoring programs. It's also through the network that the mentee establish throughout the mentoring process. So in my opinion, we cover almost all of the three of us covered all these topics in our talks so far.
Okay, thank you. And that's important to have evidence of the mentoring programs. That's why they trying to measure the impact through publications, through the research networking that our mentorees are getting, and involvement in the big projects in our environments. No, the impact has to be measured in order that we could have appreciate the importance of these mentoring programs. So thanks for sharing. And in this field, we may find more challenges than open doors. No, mostly when they begin their internships or mentoring programs. So what are the common challenges that mentors and mentees may encounter during this mentoring journey, and how can these challenges be addressed. I'd like to Dr. Ashrafuzzaman to answer the first, please.
Thank you again, 𝗏𝗏𝗏, for addressing the very good point here. The thing is that, first of all, I think for themselves, the students or the mentees, from converting themselves or motivating themselves from the discomfort to the comfort zone. So that means when they start together with us, the like mentor like me or the other faculties or other mentors, the panelists here. So initially, all are not like a comfort with the mentor, or actually they are confused that how these programs or how this training will benefit them. And few of them become very puzzled, but with the time and with the advice and the examples, sharing the experiences for the previous mentees and how they have built their own career, how they equipped themselves, ornamented themselves. So with the time, this discomfort slowly removes and they become comfort. And then I consider themselves as the mold so that we can give them proper shape in terms of knowledge, in terms of experiences, in terms of training. So these things also, even for some new mentees, they don't even know about how to write a journal article or how to conduct a survey or how to approach or communicate with the other field expert. And these things they can learn very well. And another important thing that developing their own mindset on the same platform together with the mentors, that what mentor is wanting from his or her, or how she can deliver her own time together with the knowledge, and they are not experienced, so they have to achieve it. But if they are not in the same platform, same mindset together with the mentor, it may cause some problems. So this is one challenge. Another thing is that the openness in all individuals are not same. In beginning, we found that there are many mentees, they can't even express themselves properly, that these things they don't like, or these here he or she is discomfort. So she wants or he wants like this. So these things are also very important. That is another challenge, how the mentor can convince or motivate his or her own mentees that she or he should tell that what does he like or she like. That is the important thing. Another thing is that loyalty to comment. Whenever the mentor is asking for these things, that is actually benefiting his or her, but he or she may not be understanding that actually how this is going to benefit his or her. So if the loyalty or command follows with the proper faithfulness for the mentor, then I think everything shape up finally, and they had very good career together with their experiences, especially when they are getting some training with some advanced machineries or technologies in different hospitals or the healthcare facilities or industries. Another thing is that the discipline, because for the clinical engineers, this is the foremost thing. We always run with the times, and actually time control us, not we control the time like this when we are in hospitals or these research facilities. So these things for the mentees, this is very good opportunities as well as the channel, because at their early age or early stage, people are not familiar or they have tend to become indisciplined. So for this one, also another important challenge, I think, that becoming the discipline or developing discipline senseness in the mentees. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Ashrafuzzaman. And I want to ask the same question for Dr. Lejla. You could complement the challenges found during the mentors program.
Yes, the colleague said it very good. I would add sometimes communication barriers. We come from the different backgrounds, so the same thing spoken mean different things for different people. So during this mentoring program, this kind of miscommunication is encountered. Therefore, I encourage the dialogue between the mentor and mentee in order to obtain the understanding of each other, so that there are no gaps in communication, which could lead to the lack of effectiveness of the work that is being performed. Also, sometimes varying expectations can be encountered and considered as a challenge. Mentees sometimes come with a different vision of what they should do throughout the mentoring program, and then that can be a source of a challenge for a mentor to present the program in an interesting way and to obtain the interest of a mentee for the specific times. For specific tasks. Sometimes also time can be constrained and a challenge. For example, for a mentor, if he or she has a number of mentees due to the busy schedule and conflicting priorities, it can be very hard to allocate a lot of time that would be needed for meetings, for communication with a single mentee. So that is also a challenge to ensure effective communication with a time constraint, and sometimes also this generation gap. Consider it as a communication style or work approach or technology usage, but sometimes it can also be a challenge throughout the mentoring process.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lejla. Yes, as we can see, many benefits, but also many challenges and of different natures. And I think, and I'd like to take these two aspects that Lejla mentioned, that it is a time and communications. Yeah, it's very difficult sometimes to have effective communications between us, and sometimes the students may expect something different when they come together, when they come the first time to the hospital, for example. Yeah, so some things that they have to overcome, and if they have companion to overcome them, my hope is that it will be easier for them. Hopefully, right? Okay, thank you. And we have found these challenges, and we agree that mentoring programs are beneficial for clinical engineers' careers. So I'd like to ask Marie-Ange, how can mentorship programs be structured to accommodate the unique needs and challenges of clinical engineering professionals?
Thank you, Fabiola. Like you mentioned, communication can be a barrier, and the vision as well can be a barrier of with interns. So I would say to structure to accommodate the unique needs of challenges of clinical engineering professionals, it's very important to pair the mentors well with the mentees. One thing that we do at 𝗓𝗏 when we have clinical engineers, we look at the profile before we assign. We look at all the candidates, and it's not just us as the hospital. There's two other hospital partnership, and we look at the profile of the mentee and look at which hospital would fit more this kind of person with the projects that we have in mind for them, so that we are trying to fit them so that they are successful and equip them to be successful, and we pair them with the mentor as well, so that they have a good, better, and we can gauge that from the interview, which will be a better fit. We also have a rubric where eliminate any ambiguity with expectations and vision. We have a rubric which we have all identified the key competencies required to be successful as a clinical engineer. And we didn't invent this. Actually, we use it from the body of knowledge from the American College of Clinical Engineering, that they have a certification for clinical engineering. We utilize basically all their topics, and these are the ones that we identify throughout the internship of the student that they have to be able to be exposed to and actually have either a tour or try out, so that they're able to know about the topics that's required them for certification if they want to pursue that in later on. And we encourage that as well. And we also have regular meetings with our weekly meetings one-on-one with our mentees, with our interns, in order to make sure that to guide them in their projects and to guide them as well in their expectations, and if there's any challenges, so we can tackle them together as a team so that they don't feel isolated. So I know it might be difficult for some, but we don't have many mentees, so it might be difficult for other organization that has a lot, but we have one intern, so it's easier for us to be able to meet with them on one-on-one weekly. And we have in the rubric that we have, we also, before they even start, we meet with them, before they start the internship, we meet with them to give them the projects that they can decide which one they want to tackle, because we have multiple projects, and we like to give them a snapshot of what's available, and for them to pick, to think about which project they would like to engage with and choose from themselves. So like that, they feel they're part of the process of choosing their own destiny and choosing which projects that they're going to develop their own skill set. So we do a lot of professional development plans as well. So make sure that what they want to accomplish at the end of the internship, do they want to publish a paper? Do they want to be able to present? We expose them to societies where they are able to present their work at the end of their internship, so that they are able to know there's a bigger, larger group of professionals available in case that they want to engage or move to another province in Canada. So they have these networks. So we encourage that, and that we encourage advocacy as well. So they become ambassadors for the clinical engineering field, because we don't do a very good job of promoting ourselves. So we want to make sure that they're proud, and not only that, that they continue to promote the field so that other people know about this field as well as their peers and their other work environments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Marie-Ange. You have pointed out many practical tips that are useful in many senses, but we appreciate that behind this work there are a lot of efforts, a lot of planning in order to this program to achieve their goals, and the mentees are satisfied with their experience. Now that would be important for us as mentors to have them not only a good grade of confidence, but also a good grade of excitement to proceed a long life career as a clinical engineer. So very impressive what you have done, Marie-Ange. Congratulations. And linked with this point would be the one of barrier that we find not only in biomedical and clinical engineering, but in mostly of the STEAM careers, that would be related to the inclusivity and diversity. No, we still find many differences between the access of the for all the profiles of young clinical engineers and the young students. And in this regard, I'd like to ask Dr. Ashrafuzzaman, how can mentorship programs foster a sense of inclusivity and diversity within the clinical engineering community?
Well, thank you, 𝗚𝗏𝗏, again.
Excuse me? Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Professor Ashrafuzzaman.
Thank you. I think for achieving the sense of exclusivity or the diversity for clinical engineering community, first of all, the visibility, that means the sharing the success stories of the mentees, how they are engaging, how these mentorship program are benefiting them, or how the mentors are helping or assisting them for lighting their ways for their next career or achieving their goals. So we can increase the visibility by sharing the success stories from all the regions, from different hospitals, universities, from different countries, different regions, and also not considering the gender equality is another matter also here, or considering both male and female, all the mentees. So in this case, I think by increasing our visibility, the stories, we can achieve this one. And then later on, the digitalization. So that means and engage the youngsters. That means the more the people will be engaged and with the digitalized platform, and so they can share their own expertise, own knowledges, and also own their achievements and how they have prepared themselves for achieving that goal or framing themselves. That is also very important. And then we must have the global network, and we have to achieve this one, like our IFMB or our clinical engineering divisions, how we are framing these things, and we are already connected and sharing our expertise, experiences, opinions regularly in this platform through the webinars, through workshops, through different trainings. So these things are also has to be connected through the global networks. And between these also the interpersonal relationship development is the another important things that from my region, from my university, the mentees can communicate or they can find their own field peoples or the interested other colleagues or the friends from other universities, from other communities, from the other countries, from other regions. So that would also benefit them if they can, or we can give them opportunities to develop their interpersonal relationships and for sharing their experiences. And lastly, that like other programs, training programs, especially for the mentees, it is not denied by possible for in the initially going in the mass scale, but even for the small scale, we can have the internship, summer school, winter school, or scholarship or little projects. That means the joint projects together with the different universities of different countries, different hospitals, different research fields, and initiative the different projects and give them benefits, at least for travel allowance or the accommodations or the other benefits, so that they can engage themselves effectively and they can find themselves in the good place. And this program not only benefits them, it should be also enjoyable. That means learning through joy. So because these are the complex technologies involved here, also the selflessness involved here, working for the mankind is involved here. So all through these things, I think as much as possible, we can engage the mentees and we can develop our global network, increase our visibility through the social medias, and taking the initiative for the project or scholarship or internship that would benefit in terms of the inclusivity or diversity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, yeah, took the note. Thank you, Dr. Ashrafuzzaman. Important things that you have mentioned it, and I'd like to complete this question by asking Marie-Ange, in your experience, what can we do to achieve this goal?
That's a very good question, and it's a loaded question because it's a question that has a lot of fluidity in it. So I would say it's important to have a diverse mentorship pairs. So that means that we have pairing with different type of models of mentors. So what that means as well is that having different thoughts of people that are models in clinical engineering to teach differently the way of doing to the mentees. So that way it's always diverse, and it's brings a wealth of knowledge to the field as well. So that way they're exposed to different cultures, ethnicities, and ways of doing things, and they engage with different cultures. I think, like my colleague said, visibility is very key of role models. We need to like these kind of platforms are very good. With IFMBEs does a really good job of providing a platform for discussion and providing different role models across the world. I think we should do that as well within our field of area, field of in the hospital as well, providing cultivating inclusive leadership, so training the mentees to look up, to aspire to leadership roles within clinical engineering, so that they become leaders and they become visible role models as well. And I think organizing network events which are inclusive and accessible to all, so such as webinars as these, are key as well to providing a voice to underrepresented groups, and recognizing as well that individuals from underrepresented groups may face unique challenges. So that gives them as well a way to engage and find maybe other groups. I know there's women groups as well that are done very well to discuss the challenges and ways to move together to change the field as well. I think these are very key points, and Dr. Ashrafuzzaman already said plenty already, so I'm good with that.
Okay, yeah, it's a big challenge, this one, right? It's important to have the sense of belonging in the community of clinical engineering, and the efforts on this regard will be always rewarding. So thank you, Marie-Ange. And to close this conversation, I'd like to ask Dr. Lejla, what advice would you give to mentees seeking to make the most of their mentorship experience in clinical engineering?
Well, I have found that beside this professional development we were talking about, the personal development takes place during the mentoring process. These soft skills are being shaped better. So I would say for all those seeking the most of their mentorship experience would be proactive, take the initiative to set the goals within your professional development, not the goals of the mentoring program, but what you want to become, what do you want to learn, where do you want to rise after the mentoring program. Of course, seek feedback, be open-minded. If you seek feedback, don't just expect to get prizes, to get positive comments. Of course, take the positive comments, but be very receptive to constructive criticism, because only in that way you can actually improve, you can actually go to the next level, to change the perspective and actually to adopt the knowledge and new skills. What I always say to my mentees is that to take responsibility of their own learning and development, but also to the tasks that they are given, which is very important. Ask questions. So taking responsibility and actually being proactive goes together. I like how my colleague said that when they're enrolling mentees into the program, they have the specific rubric for the clear expectations of a mentees, and that is really important. To communicate your expectations to your mentor and clarify the specific areas that you wish to focus on during the mentorship. But also what I have seen through our internship programs is that our mentees sometimes come with a different perspective of the program, and then they have like this enlightenment, it's a better word, during the program, and then they say, oh, my perspective has been totally shifted, and now I see things in a different way with a different perspective. And I think it's also a benefit of a mentoring program. In the end, I tackled these soft skills. Sometimes you get mentees who are focused on the professional work, on the tasks, and they put aside these soft skills, such as starting the conversation. And throughout mentoring program, I work a lot on these, on the developments of soft skills, because if you go to a conference, of course, you want to speak about professional work, but how will you start speaking and talking to people? You must know how to present yourself. You must have the confidence to start talking to some professor, to your colleague, because as I see young people today, when they feel insecure, they put the earplugs and they use their phone and they build a wall around themselves. So I work with my mentees on this as well, and that would be one of the advices when you're enrolling. Don't just think about the professional development you will get, but also think about the soft skills development, because it goes along in your career development.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Lejla. Very interesting points that you have mentioned, and very likely too. Okay. We have had a very nice conversation, important questions, fantastic answers. And now I have a question from 𝗟𝗏𝗷𝗹𝗶 asking, how do you become a clinical engineer? What defines a clinical engineer? The education, the experience, the certifications, the research. Who would like to answer this question? Who would like to answer? What defines a clinical engineer? The research, the certifications. Yeah.
What defines a clinical engineer? It's not a new profession. I would say it's underestimated profession in the different regions of the world, and that's why we said that we need to work on raising the awareness. In my opinion, the clinical professional is a multidisciplinary professional, and the research innovation goes along with the work that they are doing in a healthcare, because healthcare is progressing, and a clinical engineer must be a multidisciplinary professional to follow the technological trends, but also to understand the medical perspective.
Okay. Yeah. Would you like to?
And I think another important thing missing here, that is the services. That means not only the innovation, not only the development, devising. Finally, the one clinical engineer is always engaged, especially in the hospitals, for their services, for the equipment, for the installation, commissioning, repairing, and many other things. So for the Lejla, it is actually, in terms of visibility, it was not underestimated. Actually, it was not visible. And after this COVID, actually, it has become more important field all over the world, that how the clinical engineer, they fought and they have given their life in these professions from the beginning, but it was not recognized well. But from the COVID, we are receiving our recognitions, as well as the interest are growing much, especially for the new mentees or the students in the field of clinical engineering. And as this engage with the research, innovations, practices, and developing manufacturing as well as the services. So altogether, I think this is very much multidisciplinary, and we have a good opportunity to stand on same umbrella. Thank you.
Thank you. Marie-Ange, would you like to comment something on this question?
Yes, I can add. So to answer your question too, so it is multidisciplinary, but experience is very important in clinical engineering because you can't learn in a textbook what is clinical engineering. You have to actually do clinical engineering to actually learn. Even the certification that you talked about, the certification comes from experience. You cannot get certified if you don't have experience, and everything on the exam is based on your experience. So you have everything that you do is based on the training and experience of hands-on experience that you have working in a hospital industry or working in a regulatory or university setting. So you can't do clinical engineering without experience. So that's what I would add to that.
Thank you. Thank you. I think the question has been completely answered. And one of the conclusions we can get it from this is everything but not a simpler profession. It's very complex and it's very attractive. I think this is the attractive of clinical engineering. That's why they catch us on this path from many different profiles, right? Okay, thank you. There is a question from David Anderson. He said, well, he joined late, but how does one enroll into mentoring programs? I think one answer would be, okay, get close to your first contacts at the university or institution so you can find the best way for you to fit on the mentoring program. But there is another way that he could do in order to enroll on these mentoring programs.
I can try to answer this. Other ways to enter into mentoring programs, I think societies are trying to, they figured out that there's a gap. I know the Canadian Society that is a member of IFMBE is looking at ways of pairing professionally, not just academically. So what I talked about was the internship program for the master's program in clinical engineering, but they're trying to do it professional development. After you enter the field, how can one senior clinical engineer mentor a junior clinical engineer working so that they are able to tackle about career development, tackle leadership opportunities, and how to advocate for the field. So that's one thing I know that the Canadian Society is working, and I think Fabiola, you're working with IFMBE to do a mentorship program as well. So you will learn soon enough those opportunities of how to get mentorship from professionals after you graduate.
Okay. Thank you, Marie-Ange. We have a question from 𝗟𝗏𝗂𝗏𝗔𝗃𝗏. It says, although the focus has been on formal mentorship programs or internships, I would like to know if there are opportunities for mentoring of an informal level. Is it possible to mentor in informal level?
Well, yes, somehow it's called a connection. I stay like an informal mentor to my past mentees because they have my contact. We established a connection, and then when they encounter some problem, they want another opinion, they contact me seeking for an opinion, and that can be considered as informal mentoring from my perspective.
Okay. Someone else would like to comment on this?
I want to add something together with Lejla. She identified perfectly. This is the connection actually. So there are so many informal mentorship also when some are connecting through the LinkedIn or even with the platform like X, Twitter. And they are commenting and getting connected and then seeking some advice, or also sometimes they're mentioning about some troubles that how you can help. Like very often I receive call from like India or some other countries. Specifically, they do have their own products in several hospitals, but at all in a sudden, they could not find for a specific problem, they could not get immediate help or assistance from anyone. So they are seeking help that how we can engage any clinical engineer for a few hours only, or this problem solving. And not only this one, for the research purpose also, I have specifically mentioned, if I say about there are some Nepalese student or student from Sri Lanka, during their research work in the undergraduate level or graduate level, they just informally connected with me through the LinkedIn and seeking advice that how they can solve this problem, or they are seeking advice that how they can go through with that specific research. So this kind of thing already exists, and better it said, it is the well communicated connection through the social platform, social media platform, and also through other various channels. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I think we have a very nice time talking about these mentorship programs. And Dr. Ashrafuzzaman mentioned it that from CED we may develop a global network for helping and supporting these mentorship programs. And this webinar is the first step to develop a project for 2024, the very same way we did for women in clinical engineering in 2023. Yeah, this mentoring program, it's important, has been demanded over the years, and I think we finally have enough resources and wills to develop them. So I will keep in touch with you. I hope you could help to design an important project that globally help to develop these mentoring programs in these regions, and try to get the networking so we can share experiences, not virtually, but also in presence. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you. Thank you very much for being here, for sharing your experience, your knowledge, your wisdom to all of us. Thank you, Dr. Lejla Gurbeta. Thank you, Dr. Marie-Ange. Thank you, Dr. Ashrafuzzaman. And it has been a pleasure and an honor to deal this table with you. And to the audience, thank you for being here with us. This video will be uploaded to the social media of the CED, and I encourage you to watch it, because there are many important information on this session. Thank you so much to you all. And if you'd like to share some final comments, some closing comments, we welcome.
Thank you so much, Fabiola, for your wonderful initiative. And I think this is the first one for the mentorship program, and identifying the key factors, challenges, and how we can overcome, and how this can benefit the young mentees all over the world. This was a wonderful initiative by the CED as well as EU. So I think this type of program and webinar will coming much in future. And for any assistance or any contributions, we are all over the world to contribute. And thank you all again to you and your team. Thank you so much. And also thank you, the other panelists.
Thank you.